It is the talk of the town right now that us lot are throwing our clothes away. Couple of minutes deciding on whether we like it when we take it off the rack, maybe a year, if we're lucky, 2 in our wardrobes, and then bam, straight into the landfill, never to be seen again. Or maybe we don't think we're putting it in landfill, maybe we think we're giving it to a charity shop or putting it in a recycling bin. But trust me, the stats show that most of that's going in the bin. My question, should you have a moment, is why? Yes, fast fashion trend cycles are horrific. The poor quality of clothing means they don't stay together as long as they used to. But have we ever thought that the problem might be design? Now, I am a PCOS girlie, which means my hormones and my weight are prone to fluctuate more than normal. And it's not just that, our bodies can change for loads of different reasons. Whether that's health concerns, menstrual cycles, recovering from an eating disorder, that means you can fluctuate either up or down depending on what the issue was. The general up and down stresses of life, staying inside for a few years to hide from a deadly virus, or even having a baby. And that is to say, if you haven't guessed from the title, in this video I will be giving you as many tips that I could drain and pluck from my near barren brain about my years and years of fluctuating in size. I've been everything from a size 10 to a size 20 in my short little 33 years of life, and boy, have I got through the clothes. I've been doing loads of different experiments on my channel to learn what it really takes to build a sustainable wardrobe. So if that sounds really interesting to you, I really hope that you subscribe. But this topic has really got me thinking not only about what kind of fabrics we pick, where we buy, how much we buy, but what we're buying. How is this designed? Is this built with a human body in mind, which seems like a very low bar? And you'd be right. But the fact is, the better designed an item is to stay on your body throughout weight fluctuation, the more sustainable it is. Grab a pen and paper because I'm gonna be moving fast. This is a fluctuating body boot camp, but it's also not an exhaustive list. Let me know if you have any tips below. But first, before I get into the tips, I have a little bone to pick with you. And that is the idea that building a wardrobe for a changing body just involves stretch. That's what I used to do. I used to be like, well, my body changes a lot, I'm just gonna buy loads of stretchy tops and stretchy skirts. And oh, was that illusion shattered almost instantly. People who give out the advice that just buy stretchy clothing shows me that they've literally probably never been anywhere higher than a size 12. Reason being that as a piece of fabric stretches, the tactile nature of it changes and it becomes more or less comfy depending on what size you are. Unless it's like really, really high quality, it won't snap back to the size that it was. And because of the way things are cut, often even if something's stretchy, it's not gonna fit you around the shoulders or the armholes because those threads are static. Stretch isn't gonna help you there. With a thing called fiber stretch, which is what goes into making a lot of the stretchy fabrics you might have in your wardrobe that has like some kind of elastic material in it or spandex, those things, one, aren't really that great for the planet, and two, wear out really fast. They peel really easily. I've started learning the difference between a mechanically stretchy fabric, i.e. knits, or any fabric that has like tiny loops in it and that's why it's stretchy, and fiber stretch, which means spandex, which I personally think is useful in some instances, especially with bralettes and stuff and pants, but it's not very useful when it comes to building the basis for a whole wardrobe. But Lena, if stretch fabric isn't the answer, what is? Strap in, because we're about to begin the masterclass. First on the list is an obvious, a classic. If you change weight a lot, you've probably got at least one of these, and that is a wrap dress. Like this one, or this one, or this one. But did you know that not all wrap dresses are created equal? If you might change size more than 1 or 2 sizes, or you have larger breasts, it's really important to look at the gradient of the wrap. This angle here, because if it's too tilted like this, you'll find that it becomes very, very booby the more material you're using around the rest of your body. So while it might still close, I actually found that some of my wrap dresses aren't as versatile as I first thought. However, if you are canny, when you're trying on a dress before you buy it, you can see whether it does this, which would mean that it wouldn't matter if it was really gapey at the back, because the back would be the front, you see what I mean? But honestly, for this one, it doesn't really work because there's a huge, weirdly shaped seam going the whole way down here, and it's also choking me a bit on the neck, like the back of the neckline isn't dropped. So while wrap dresses are really, really useful, they're not the be all and end all. However, the wrap innovation can also come in the form of a wrap skirt. Again, check how much fabric is overlapping on your wrap skirt to see how versatile it really is. Some of them H&M wrap skirts, let's just say they have notions above their station. But you can also look for wrap tops, not a flex, but I did just make this one. I will be showing you in a later video, I promise, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. But this one ties in the back, which means that it can cater for lots of different sizes, or wrap adjacent, a nice tie or corseted back. Very important that it isn't joined at the bottom so it can be truly flexible, but these can be a really great weight fluctuating hack. Next is shearing. I freaking love a good shearing. That's what she said. Shearing is the technique where oh, I'm wearing this top backwards. Oh well. It's the technique where somebody, by hand, always by hand, machines don't do this, has sewn loads of lines of elastic into the fabric to give it this big block of gathers. Now, shearing elastic, in my experience, lasts a lot longer than having a little bit of spandex in your fabric, and it bounces back way better. This is my favorite sheared top. It's sheared the whole way around and at the sleeves because they're thorough. Here's an example of another one, but if you don't like the look of that, you can look for tops and dresses that have a panel of shearing at the back. This black dress, I don't know if you can see, it has princess seams at the front. You wouldn't know that it has stretch. It looks very fitted on, but at the back, it's got a big panel of shearing. Same with this dress, very straight at the front, but at the back, we've got that good old sheer. And make sure if you're buying clothing that has shearing installed, that the bit of fabric below it also has some give in it. So this has a gathered skirt, so this will also stretch with the shearing as you change. Related to that is a lesson in cuffs altogether. As you can see, this is a sheared cuff, which is quite unusual, but I think designers forget that when people gain weight, they do gain weight everywhere. The science is basic, I know, but having something that's gonna fit your body as it changes, but not your wrists or your elbows, it doesn't make any sense. This dress is a great example of my sadness about this. Let me show you. This dress, I do love, I do, but when I put on just a tiny, tiny bit of weight, oh, I stop being able to feel the blood in my arms whenever I stretch them out. And it's because of this little fixed bit here. Now, this one is a compromise, and that's why I've kept it in my wardrobe, because it does also have a button. So you can technically roll it up like that, but it kind of ruins the look of the dress. No, I prefer it like this, but as you can see, it's cutting off my little mittens and it makes me sad, which is why now I'm learning to sew. Whenever I have a sleeve like that, I make sure that I include an elasticated arm cuff. And even, I'm not trying to tempt you into the sewing cult, I swear, even though I have uploaded several videos about it by now, but I'm just saying that if you do sew your own clothes, you can sew a channel to thread your elastic through, but leave a tiny, tiny section of it open. Here's the elastic peeking through, and that means that if the elastic ever gets too loose or it's too tight and I need a longer elastic, I can just so easily, without any sewing, take it out and just replace it. Why doesn't the high street design clothes like that? I don't know, I'm joking. I know exactly why. It's called planned obsolescence, bitch. Anyway, the next thing we're shining a light on is clothes with straight seams down the edge. These are my 3 lovely pairs of original Lucianiac dungarees, and I would honestly die for them. Now, it's very important that if you want them to be weight fluctuating, you must get the originals. Not the ones with the side seam pockets, not the ones with the buttons on the waist, The reason these are so amateur adjustable, like you don't need to have a sewing machine, you just need to be able to sew in a straight line, is that this line from the hip to the ankle is completely uninterrupted and straight, meaning that if you do want to take them in, you can literally just see how much you want to take in and make a new seam on the inside. I have done that twice, actually, as you can see, with these leopard print corduroy ones, and I've actually left that seam allowance in so that if I ever need to take them out again, I can. The good news is the straight seam rule does not only apply to dungarees. This is a very simple dress I made very recently from the DIY Daisy book, and it again has a completely straight seam. If I wanted to take this dress in, I've made sure that the armpit slit is long enough so that if I took it in, it would be okay and still sit below my armpit. And I could take this in easily if I wanted to. Or if I was making it and I wasn't sure, I could just sew a bigger seam allowance so I could take it out at any point too. But it doesn't have to be, if you're not into the like hippie linen look, then it would also be possible with something a little bit more slinky, like this dress. This has a crisscross strap and a kind of sexy dippy back, but if you look at the seams are completely straight. This dress would be a total doddle to take in, and it's more of an evening gown. Next, we need to talk waistbands, and yes, an elasticated waistband is good, but I think it goes a little bit deeper than that. I found that very thin waistbands, one, roll over all the time. If you gain a little bit of weight, your belly's just pushing the elastic waistband over, and it's incredibly annoying and uncomfortable and doesn't actually keep your trousers up. So if you are going to go for a completely elasticated waistband, look for some trousers like this. These are from Kemi Telford, and they have a really thick waistband. I'd say this is a 2-inch waistband, all of pure elastic, and it also has a seam down the middle, which means it's going to keep itself in place and keep its integrity so it doesn't keep rolling over. I have worn these to death and they're still really, really comfy. However, if you don't like the look of an elasticated waistband, you can look for trousers that have a little bit of elastic inserted. These are the Addison jeans from Lucy & Yak, and as you can see from the front, they look like a straight waistband, and most of the back looks that way as well, but you've just got these 2 tabs that are elasticated. They also have them on the Cole jeans, and I'll write in the description below if they do it on any others, but I love that about Lucy & Yak jeans. Although if you're buying them secondhand, do be aware that they've only just started doing this in the past 2 years, so just check the pictures if you're buying them off of Vinted to check they've got that elastic in them. While we are talking about trousers, I just wanted to take a quick note to say that your body doesn't always just go outwards. It can sometimes go up or down. Now, I'm thinking about the future. If the genetics from my parents are telling me anything, it's that I'm going to shrink further into the ground. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I am only 5'2", but it's only gonna get lower from here. But maybe you're also somebody who is growing for whatever reason, or has teenagers that are growing, and something to be aware of if you're thinking of changing the hem on a pair of trousers is that it is so much more of a ball ache if the fabric is only the colour that you want it to be on one side. As you can see, on these, they're white on the other side. Same with a lot of corduroy patterns, they're white on the inside, so it's worth looking before you buy just to see, can I roll these up easily, or can I take them up easily, or am I definitely going to have them very carefully hemmed so they look normal. I don't mind the look of a good turn up on some jeans material, but I do honestly mind it. I'm a bit of a fuss pot when it comes to stuff like this, so it's worth bearing in mind. I thought I'd put it in the list, just say. Next one on the list is pleats. This is my Forever Ghost outfit. I wear her all the time, and you can see in the neckline, I'm just put it on to show you. The reason I've been able to wear this at literally all the sizes I've been is because of this inbuilt pleat at the front, which comes out in a kind of concertina shape if you need it to, and a very similar one at the nape of the neck. Can you see it? Dresses with that are the shit. More of that, please. And the only way that this could ever get too tight for me, I think, is in the arm. But that would be, again, a very easy sewing adjustment just to unpick a little bit of the seam here and elongate that armhole. Similarly, I am somebody who puts on weight in their lower stomach. There is like some interesting science around why we put on weight at different places, because mine is very hormone related. The first place I gain weight is my lower stomach, like just above my floof. So pleats in jeans are an absolute godsend for me, because it's often not my waist that changes first, it's below my belly button. So jeans like this, these are the Cole ones, safeguard against that, and also they're really wide leg and they have that elasticated back as well. So those have been a game changer for me. On that note, when it comes to pleats, you can also look for gathered tops like this. This top has a gather at the top, which means it does fluctuate around things like maternity bellies, but also works for people who are just pregnant with fun and good times. And also something that they grossly call peasant tops, which look a bit like this. I would like another term for that, please, but for now, apparently when you search peasant tops, we get something vaguely useful for a fluctuating figure. If you're into a more flowy, relaxed fit anyway, do look for boxy styles like this. This is a dress I made from DIY Daisy's book, but as you can see, it's literally just, the top half is literally just a rectangle. It means that you're so free to grow and change. Well, darts that create shape and stuff look really nice. There's nothing like a good box to future-proof an outfit, and I'd say as well, if you're trying to make your own clothes, start with a boxy fit, because darts are a fickle friend, and you can have a dress without darts. You can have a dress without darts. Special shout out here to trapeze dresses and tops that go out in a kind of triangle shape. They're not gathered or anything, they're just cut that way. The fabric is cut to be a triangle and then it hangs kind of drapey on you. I don't own any. I'm not really sure why, but they look beautiful. Let me know if you have any trapeze dresses and it works for you. But another thing I wanted to talk about is sleeve placement. Now I'm going to put on this dress to show you what I mean. Now this is a dress I love, but it does have a very specific shoulder seam. You can see that here, and while it fits me right now, you can already tell it hits me just below, and I know that if I shrink they're gonna stick out a bit like this. I have this with a lot of like dresses, that if I get smaller, they're not cut to droop with my body, they'll just stay that way and make it really obvious that what I'm wearing doesn't really fit me. And equally, I've had clothing where I've gained weight and the shoulder seam has kind of traveled up towards my neck. One, really pinching my underarm, and two, making it really obvious that it doesn't fit, that maybe I've grown out of my clothes. It doesn't look like my clothes are traveling with me. It looks like they're trying to pack me into a Tupperware box and I'm not being very obedient. So I don't love that on clothes. It's something that I try and avoid. And what I'd look for instead is either an intentional drop sleeve where it's like clearly designed so that the sleeve only starts like here. I love that look. It looks really slouchy, but can also, I think, look a bit elegant. Or you're looking for garments that don't have that seam. They're cut from one bit of fabric, like this shirt. It's got a seam down the back instead, and this bit of fabric is all one. So I can fluctuate through the sizes and it doesn't show. This one also happens to have a bit of a bat wing under the armpit, and it's cropped. So this is like the triple threat. This is the dream. Let all other shirts learn from this one. And on that topic of crop, I also wanted to give a shout out, if you have a body like mine, to the crop top. I think we are shamed if we're in any way paranoid about our weight from wearing crop tops, but I would like to vouch, not for their aesthetic appeal, although that is appealing, but for their practical appeal. Again, this is really dependent on where you put on weight, but I am much more likely to put on weight in my bottom half before my top half. In UK sizing, I'm often one size on the top and then just one size bigger on the bottom. And if I'm putting on weight, it's gonna be on my bottom half first. So crop tops, because they only cover my top half and because I'm partial to a good high waist, have actually lasted me way longer than a tank top like this that goes the whole way over my belly and might make me start to feel uncomfortable if I gain weight, or give me too much loose fabric around my belly if I lose weight. I am very partial to a good rib, which, if we remember from our lesson at the beginning, nerds, is a mechanical stretch, so it stretches back. The second to last question to ask yourself is, does it have belt loops? Seems obvious, but in trousers, sometimes they don't. That's very annoying, especially when it comes to more formal trousers. And it's a real big bonus for me when a dress has even just one little belt loop here, and even if it doesn't come with a belt, just one belt loop here and one belt loop here can change the game as to whether I actually buy that dress or not, because I know that if my body does change and I do want to wear a belt with it, I don't need to put those in myself. And then finally, I wanted to show you two different tie options. You can obviously tie a fabric belt around anything, but inbuilt ties really make a piece of clothing feel cohesive and like it was designed that way, and not like you're having to make adjustments that weren't part of the plan. So let me show you these two. This jumpsuit is one of my favorites of all time, not only because it has like a cool side tie like this. So if you're worried about something fluctuating and it's your boobs that you're worried about, why aren't more things constructed like this? I don't know. But it also has an open back with just two buttons on the back. I don't know if you can see that. So that there is a lot more room for give in the back as well as a bit of elastic. Oh. And then the other one, this one is from a sustainable brand called Gung Ho, who are closing soon. I'm very sad about. But this is a jumpsuit that is cut very straight down, as you can see, but it's got these two beautiful tabs on the edges that are really long. So the idea is you can not only just like tie it at the back, you can wrap it around your front first and then your back. So it becomes this really beautiful design feature, or you can tie it around your back and then your front. So when you're trying on jumpsuits like this, make sure that you like it both ways, or that it works both ways. But I really, really like that as a design feature. Not only that it has the ties, but the ties are sewn thick and flat, so they're designed to be part of the garment and not just like a PS. So that concludes everything I have learned about having a changing body that needs clothes. If you've changed weight in your life and your wardrobe hasn't changed with you, I can guarantee that it is not your fault. In fact, that was the plan all along. The fashion design industry has obsolescence baked into it. They need it not to last, so you buy more. But I am on a mission to not let them get away with it. Did you know that textile waste is projected to increase by 60% between 2015 and 2030? And we're now at the halfway mark between those 2 points. And I will be damned if I'm gonna let that continue. The average piece of clothing in your wardrobe is worn an average of 36% less than it was 15 years ago. We're not wearing what we own because we don't like it, because it doesn't fit. And did you know that 25% of everything we donate to charity shops just also goes into landfill, and then the next 40 to 60%, I believe, gets shipped off to the kind of global secondhand, very problematic industry, which again, likely in the end ends up in landfill, just not any land near me and other people's land. But what is important to remember is that generally this hasn't really happened outside of Western culture. Clothes in other cultures tend to be, by design, a lot more adjustable, and it hasn't always been this way here either. There's an amazing historical clothing movement on YouTube from which I've learned that this skirt exists and now I need to make it. All skirts used to work this way. What have we done? And I also have a little wish list I'd like to run through you of independent designers that are designing adjustable clothing that you can make at home. So I'd really like to make the Tudor blouse from Stitch Witch with the wrap hat. Sasha Starlight has these palazzo pants that tie in the back so they can fit you at any size. She's also just released some tie waist dungarees that look incredible. And Matchy Matchy Sewing Club have this college gather dress, and I saw a hack that somebody did on Instagram where they built in ties around the side, and I was like, I need to immediately make that. Thank you so much for watching this video. I wish upon you not only an anti-capitalist, rebel-rousing wardrobe, but one that actually fits you and feels nice. If you like this video, I reckon you might like some of the other videos in my Positive Panic series, or maybe some of my particular sustainable wardrobe videos. This video was made possible by the Gumption Club, who tip me per video to make sure these videos keep happening. And they, of course, get some exclusive perks too. If you're interested in hearing a little bit more about the climate crisis, I do have a podcast called No Books on a Dead Planet. I'll leave that below. And all that's left to say is, Frog Snog, out.